The Justice League is a combination of the most well-known comic book superheroes of all time. Through the Justice League's almost decade-long run, the roster of the league has been constantly changing. It's a revolving door of members, but the roster has sometimes included every single hero of the DC universe all the way down to 7 core members. The mainstays of the group have always been Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, but once the roster veers off from those three, the roster almost becomes random at times. Usually they throw the Flash in there, usually Barry Allen in recent iterations. They throw Green Lantern in there depending on which Green Lantern they use. And then after that, it's basically a toss-up. The JLA in almost every slimmed version of the team usually consists of 7 members. Strictly 7. Even franchises outside of the DC universe, such as SpongeBob and The Boys, recognize that the Justice League is usually 7 members. Even Vought's super team is called The 7. So today I just want to give you my totally unprovoked opinion on what I think the ideal Justice League 7-member team roster looks like, and I'll give you some reasoning for all of my picks. Let's start off with the easy decisions in my Justice League. I would 100% have Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. That's probably the least controversial thing I'll say all day. Next is who I'd absolutely not have on the team, starting off with Cyborg. I know in mainline comic books and movies have Cyborg as a founding member of the team. I grew up with the early 2000s Teen Titans show, and I think a young Victor Stone works very well with a younger group of heroes to play off of, such as Beast Boy and Raven. I would also say no thanks to Black Canary and Green Arrow. I like them better when they're off doing their own thing in Star City. And obviously if we're going to exclude some members, let's just get out of the way, like Blue Devil, Booster Gold, Plastic Man, Zatanna, Red Tornado, Black Lightning. Those are characters who are sometimes mentioned as being part of the extended Justice League roster in iterations such as the cartoon series Justice League Unlimited. So now here comes the fun part. Who would I have alongside the Trinity? We have first to start out with the Flash. Okay, the Flash has been in almost every single version of the Justice League, and I would say Barry Allen Flash because that's the one I'm most familiar with. I like his funny, goofy, but yet sometimes serious and smart characterization. Next, I would add Green Lantern, but John Stewart Green Lantern. I enjoy his stoic nature and being the straight man. He's almost like Batman in that sort of way, just not as pessimistic. I don't like Hal Jordan here because in many versions, Hal Jordan is just shown as an idiot, bouncing off the Flash in a weird contest of who can be the stupidest. I hate it when writers try to pit those two against one another. So overall, just to avoid that, let's just have John Stewart Green Lantern. And he's the first black superhero I have on that roster, which is always a good thing to have on a Justice League roster, but I'll get more into that later. So now we have 5. 2 more to go. And this is where it kind of gets tricky. I'm bouncing off between several members here, such as Hawkgirl, Aquaman, and Martian Manhunter. In a perfect world, I would have all 3 be a part of the group, but since I'm only sticking with 7, I gotta pick 2. I'd add Aquaman because he adds this element of water. Being the king of Atlantis, ruler of the 7 seas, Aquaman has cool water-based powers and can always be useful for different underwater missions. And I honestly, between Martian Manhunter and Hawkgirl, I would scratch out Hawkgirl and fill the 7th spot with Martian Manhunter. is not always included in the core roster of the JLA, but his extensive list of powers and his big heart. Hawkgirl doesn't make it because her lack of popularity and constant changing of origins within the comic books. She's just not that established in these versions enough to have me add her, and I just don't know her that well as a character. I know she's a core member in the Justice League cartoon, but I feel like they only added her as like another woman in the group, which is a good thing, but Hawkgirl has always seemed like a black sheep to me. The Justice League, I for one believe, should represent humanity, every aspect of Earth. That's why the roster of my Justice League is so important to the stories that they tell. Batman is an orphan who feels sympathy for the people he rescues. He also is the financial provider for the team because of Wayne Enterprises. Superman represents small town values and relationships with the people of the earth, coming down to their level and meeting them halfway. Wonder Woman is the motherly love type character that a lot of her characterization is fulfilled in little girl's aspirations to become a strong, independent woman. The Flash is the goofy, relatable one who always seems late because of circumstances he can't control. Jon Stewart is the only black character on this team, but yet he represents the Green Lantern Corps, allowing willpower and determination be the mainstay of his character. Then Aquaman feels unfit to lead Atlantis and by extension be a part of the Justice League because of his father and mother dynamic, allowing readers to connect with a character like that. And finally, Martian Manhunter hides underneath a lot of shame and darkness due to the destruction of his people, needing to flee Earth and feeling like a fish out of water. Each member of my Justice League has separate personalities that can clash at times but complement one another as well, allowing this Justice League to represent many of the peoples of humanity. One big reason for all of these specific characters to be a part of my Justice League is the color contrasts. With all of them standing up there with their bright costumes on, I wanted to give each individual member to pop, which is what led me to some of my final decisions on the roster. Batman wears a mix of black and gray, wearing the darkest shades on the team, and Superman with his big, bright red and blue costumes. Wonder Woman has a lot of silver and gold, making her blue and red costume contrast with Superman's. Both Green Lantern and Martian Manhunter's main color is green, adding that more depth into the roster's color chart. Then the Flash and Aquaman offset that with their big yellow auroras. These aspects and reasons are why my ideal Justice League would consist of Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, the Flash, Jon Stewart, Green Lantern, Aquaman, and Martian Manhunter. Thank you guys so much for listening, watching, having fun with me, talking about my ideal Justice League. I love talking about this. This is a video that I've been wanting to make for a long time. I've always wanted to talk about the Justice League and what they mean to me and their different personalities, colors, and different powers mean to the roster as a whole. I really appreciate you guys clicking on my video and talking about the Justice League with me. Really appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video or podcast episode.